and your children are turned into mindless vassals who now they look up to some twit instead of looking up to Thomas Jefferson or looking up to Nikola Tesla or looking up to Magellan. I mean, kids, Magellan's a lot cooler than Justin Bieber. He circumnavigated with one ship the entire planet. He was killed by wild natives before they got back to Portugal. And when they got back, there was only...
But why? $22 million in 3 fucking hours! There is no nobility in poverty. I have been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time. The real question is this: was all this legal? Absolutely fucking not. Neither go towards the feeding grounds at the edge of the ice, nor return to the colony. Shortly afterwards, we saw him heading straight towards the mountains, some 70 kilometers away. Dr. Ainley explained that even if he caught him and brought him back to the colony, he would immediately head right back for the mountains. But why?
What's your dream? To go away.
To go away. That's great.
Do you guys want to drink? I don't understand why everybody has to be so judgmental. I understand why mom's judgmental. I think it's because she cares partially. And it's also partially because everyone else is looking at her like, hey, Cody's just a bum. Cody's this, Cody's that, Cody's this. Cody's me, bro. Let me be me.
There we go. I'm unmuted. Boom. What's up, fellas, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another day, another stream here on MCG. Hope you guys enjoyed the weekend. Man, it feels like the vibes worldwide are back. The NBA Finals just concluded with a huge win by the Knicks. Shout out the Knicks. First and foremost, shout out Jalen Brunson. But you have the NBA Finals, you have the World Cup. The USA just won recently. I didn't watch the game. I don't even know when it came on, but I'll get locked in with the World Cup now that the NBA Finals are done. So, guys, you have that, and then you have this: Bitcoin reclaiming 67,000. Have Bitcoin pushing up, making a nice little move upward. And that's all fine and dandy. But then you have this. You have NEAR up 12% on the day. You have Jito up 42% on the day. I told y'all on Friday I was long. Jito. And then, of course, the one and only Dom, he actually broke the news on Jito and put that one on our watch list, back when they announced perps. We have Zek coming back to life. Zek coming back to life here. So, look, there's so much to talk about, guys. There's so much to talk about on markets today. Feels like the trenches are back. It feels like everything is good again. you know? So the question is this the beginning of an on-chain summer, or are we still expecting a lull over the summer? So we'll answer that today, but tons to go through today. So first and foremost, let me do this. Let me let you guys know the show schedule. Today, no interviews today. So I'll just be running trader radios. We'll talk about setups. We'll talk about some charts, majors. We'll start, of course, with the majors. Go Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, and we'll handpick a few majors to track. And then we'll also do pivot to Onchain, right? We'll cover some setups. I don't know if you guys saw Squire. Squire's going crazy right now. That's looking pretty good. So yeah, we got a few things looking good right now. So a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss. I mean, dude, look at this Squire chart. Look at this Squire chart, bro. Remember on Friday, I literally drew out this head and shoulders squiggle for you guys. We talked about the pivot entry. We talked about the 886 on the fib. And we even talked a little bit about the head and shoulders. I was like, you know what? This looks good. And we drew the squiggle, and here we are. Squiggles are, the magic lines are actually playing out. The magic lines are actually playing out. So yeah, looking good across the board here, market wise. I mean, there's a ton to go through. There's a ton to go through here. First and foremost, though, I want to play a video for you guys. I want to play a quick video for you guys. Here it is. So just all right.
But the real answer to your question is that when it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
All that to say, don't stay in the same place your whole life, ladies and gentlemen. We on Bitcoin, we reached the sub 60K level. I was telling you guys that, look, at the end of the day, looks like we're going to chop around for a few months. But it's not a bad time to accumulate, right? We just sit on some quality bags. We sit on some nice bags. And that's exactly what we've been doing. And credits to that video, you got to just jump, when it's scary to jump, sometimes you just got to go for it. Just got to go for it. All right. Last thing, quick little housekeeping before we get into it. How was your weekend, boys? By the way, while I pull this up, how was the weekend? A lot going on. News coming out of OpenAI, or not OpenAI, but Anthropic and the government. We saw that pushing a nice little narrative here. See a few other things happening in, I believe, in Europe or somewhere in that area. I think they banned social media for kids, or for under 16-year-olds, basically. But we'll get into all of that here today. All right, first things first. Let's go to the MCG account at MCG Live. There's a few of us in here now, so let's go to at MCG Live. We'll scroll down, and we'll notice this here. We're gonna hit like, and then we're gonna hit retweet. Right, like, retweet. Might even just go ahead and throw a couple emojis in there. Might as well. Boom. Might as well. Let's let all the homies know that we're here, that we're live. Here's the schedule for this week. We got a nice schedule. Today is Trader Radio. On Tuesday, we have QST coming on. Price action there has been really good. And if you guys remember their first interview, I think it was late last year on MCG, QST, they had some very, very deep, regulatory ties, deep ties to governments and top banks in the world, etc. The friends of the show, Nook Plot, they'll be coming back to give us an update. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we have Pumpcade and Peak on. Some interesting updates from them. Thursday, we got a nice little lineup there. GitLab, Surplus, and ISO. ISO has been one that's kind of been on my radar for a little bit. New financial primitive. And then on Friday, we have the boys at Blockworks coming on. OX Metalite. So interesting to see, where his attention is, see what he's looking, see what he's doing in this market right now, see where his interest lies. So very interesting week here on MCG. Absolutely excited to get into it. Let's start with the obvious, Bitcoin. Bitcoin going up. We reclaim that or at least we push past. I wouldn't go as far as say a reclaim, but we're now above 67K. We noticed that Onchain is getting a nice bounce. Onchain is getting a nice bounce. But let's go through some breaking news real quick. Some breaking news alongside this macro segment. We have SpaceX IPO being the largest IPO ever. We're literally living through history right now. GM Top Fumbler, hope you're doing well, bro. GM, another Discord Chad. So there you have it. SpaceX officially the largest IPO ever. And it's almost 2 times larger than the last company that held that record. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you saw, we talked about Zek a little bit earlier. Zek is basically coming back to life, it seems. And before we move on to the Zek news, I actually wanted to talk a little bit about something. I don't know if you guys saw the news over at Onchain. I don't know if you guys saw the news Onchain over the weekend, or at least I believe it was like Friday, Saturday. There was some news that came out that basically a ton of these like stocks, quote unquote, these on-chain stocks. They're the SpaceX ones. On Friday they were like the prices, they were at a 40% discount compared to where the actual stock price was, right? So we saw a lot of these these on-chain stocks actually break essentially on Friday. Obviously Hyperliquid, this was a shill for Hyperliquid essentially, but obviously Hyperliquid's IPO stocks, those did well. But you know what else did well? Look at what else did well. Backpacks tokenized SpaceX stock. It surpassed 35 million in 24-hour volume. It leads the tokenized stock volume on Solana 24 hours after SpaceX debuts on the NASDAQ. So obviously we talked about Sunrise. We talked to the guys from Sunrise last week. Was it on Friday? They partnered with the guys from Backpack to bring the SpaceX stock on chain. And while many of the other stocks were breaking on Friday, we see that the SpaceX stock offered on Sunrise actually held up really well in the market and generated a ton of volume. So definitely something worth keeping a track of there. Worth noting, the on-chain stocks, they're here. We talked to the guys at Sunrise last week, and one of the things that we said was, there's so much opportunity now. Through Hyperliquid, we can trade other markets. We're not confined to the crypto space right now, and so we're able to trade commodities, trade stocks on leverage now. We can trade spot stocks on chain now, right? So as the opportunity expands, as the opportunity set expands, our job as traders is to adjust. It's adjust or die out here. Obviously that's going to eat away at the volume that's usually focused on the trenches. People leave the trenches for stocks, for perps, for whatever you want to call it. So yeah, just wanted to cover that because I thought that was pretty interesting. Sol XBT, this is a scam pump. Sol's chart looks exactly the same like 2022. Let's check out the Sol chart here real quick. Let's let's look at it on the weekly, and let's go back to 2022. You say you think this is a scam pump. You think we're here? You think we're here? Soul XBT, let me know. I don't know. I want to disagree with you here. I want to disagree with you here. I mean, okay, could we potentially have another maybe 30% downside? I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I think a 30% downside window is fair from this current level, which basically puts us at $50 and we're just at 59. But I think overall, I think this is a great spot. It's like scam pump or not. Like if this is where you're referring to in 2022, if this is where you're referring to, I don't think we're here. I don't think we're here. I think if anything, like we could be like here, right? Like maybe we have like one more big dump to go, maybe. But I think we now just go for this bottoming action. I mean, look at how long we consolidated the last time. Let's see here. We consolidated, holy crap, almost 500 days. We consolidated between call it $50 and $4. All right, well, that's a pretty wide range. But you see this kind of like, you see this bottom area that we formed here. This took 500 days to form, before we went up again. I don't know if I don't know. I don't want to say we try for 500 days again. Because if we try for 500 days, that puts us in June 2027. I think I'm comfortable with this. I think I'm comfortable with this kind of being like a bottom area. And you know what? Let's keep this up. So Soul XBT, if you're here, if you're on stream, when we start pumping again, hopefully it'll be coming out of this box and not going beyond it. If you're here, I'll have this box up. I'll keep this box up for you, bro. And we'll monitor this. But I think this is a great place. I think this is a great place here for us to kind of consolidate. And hey, maybe we take another trip sub $67. But I think we ultimately, like leave this area, towards the end of August or so. All right. But let's look at real quick some low time frame stuff here on Solana. Let's put the box. Let's keep the box at this interval or above. Keep it off the daily chart. Let's look at the daily real quick. See what's up. All right. So looks like we have this as our local swing high. I'll call this our local swing low. Sounds about right. So yeah, I would say our current range here is, between, it's a pretty wide range, but this is our current range here on Solana. So yeah, I would look for us to, maybe revisit some of the swing low levels, whether for a sweep or something, but I don't think this is like an overall scam pump. Soul XBT, let me see what you got. You said, just looks like it to me. Is it because the FTX stuff in 2022 that nuked it to $8? Yes. 20, I don't know. How long have you been in the cycle, Soul XBT? How long have you, or not the cycle, how long have you been in crypto overall? I've been in the space since 2021. And man, like 2022, holy moly, that was a rough time. That was a really, really rough time. Why? Because literally half the industry imploded. And if you were here, it was like every single day there's something like coming out, something bad. A company is going down. Ever since Luna crashed, and who was it? Who was it? Do Kwon, whatever his name is. He tweeted out. Steady lads. Ever since the steady lads tweet last bear market, it was just brutal because everyone was affected. Funds, companies, and ultimately FTX, and that kind of led to the downfall. So yeah, I would say there was definitely some forced price action downward here. I mean, this is basically like when a lot of that stuff happened right here. So, definitely FTX kind of forced this nuke to $8. But I don't know. I don't think there's an FTX style event this bear market. Things have actually calmed down relative relatively well. I mean, just think about it. I mean, we haven't really had, you know, we haven't had any like major hacks. We've had crime, extraction. We've had a ton of that. But we didn't really have like, you know, we didn't really have a lot of DeFi exploits. I mean, we had a few characteristic of a bear market for sure. We had a few, but we weren't like it- this bear market compared to 2022 is just not the same. It's not the same at all. This has been relatively calm. I mean, prices have been down only. 1010 happened and no major exchange or company um blew up. In fact, we have the SpaceX stock on chain. We have um we have we have all these things now. And so if anything, I feel like we're headed to a better place. We're in a much better place than where we were in 2022. Bunny just bought, dump it. It feels like that a lot of times, doesn't it? Like it just waits to dump right after you buy. Crypto Jones, sold downtrend intact. Let's look at a high time frame real quick. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much still intact. Still intact, I would say. I would say for us to break the um actually let's put this on the 2 week, yeah, so I can get this out the way real quick. All right. Yeah, I mean, for us to really like break the downtrend, I would look for us to meaningfully break above $98. That's what I'm looking at here. $98. I mean, we've made a downtrend is what? Lower highs and lower lows, right? So obviously we had a high and a low. We made a lower high. We then made another lower high. We then made a lower low, a lower high, and a lower low. So I mean, we're pretty much, yeah, downtrend. Um, downtrend is still intact on Solana. What would make me shift? GMCG Daddy Duster, GMCG OG right there. That's an OG. Yeah, so downtrend is still intact. For us to break this downtrend, I'd look for us to make a either a higher low or a higher high. Ideally outside of this range, I'd love for us to go above $98 to make a higher high, right? Like this was our higher high here. If we can make it here going into resistance, like that would be amazing. But yeah, I'm looking for that here on Solana to kind of change in character to officially turn bullish. But I don't think from a spot perspective, you need to wait for us to turn bullish. I think, these are depressed prices, guys. I mean, let's see how much down we are from all-time high. We're down 80%, man. I mean, if you don't start DCAing here, like where exactly do you start your DCA, right? So yeah, I think that was really nice. Really nice really nice levels here. If we look at Fartcoin, holy moly. Let's look at the 12-hour on Fartcoin. I saw that it had a nice little pump today, coming up from sub 10 cents to 15 cents almost. It's coming back into a nice region. So I'll keep monitoring that. You guys know me. I'm a Fartcoin OG. Look, it is what it is. It is what it is. Hyperliquid looking very, very good. Very good. It did not end up hitting our limit order. So I'm not currently long, but we did take note of the SFP. I wanted a retest of the SFP, but just ultimately didn't get it. Which is cool. Which is cool. And we didn't ultimately go deeper into the sub $51 level. So we'll see. We'll see on that. But hype continues to look as strong as ever, man. As strong as ever. WorldCoin coming into an area of resistance. Obviously, we had the SpaceX IPO that's now done and gone. So I think the focus will now shift to the OpenAI IPO in a couple of months here in October. So again, still waiting for us to really dig deeper into this 3-day order block here in green. Haven't really, that also hasn't hit my limit. It didn't really go as low as I thought it would. We look closer, not closer, but to some lower levels. I was hoping we'll get like a sweep here at 42 cents, but ultimately we only came down to 45. But again, area of resistance here that we've respected one time. So interested to see, if this comes down and tags the green box again. Let's see. XPL, another one that, we called out in the in the Discord. XPL was looking very bottomed. And I'm honestly, if you guys were here when XPL was like first, where's WorldCoin headed? Let's see. I still let's start a high time frame here real quick. So we have this massive order block here. You have this massive order block that we're respecting on the 3-day. If you ask me, my bias is I want to get an entry, so I want it to go into this green box here. But I'm thinking it probably blows through this high. Or actually, no, I think it respects this high. And I'll look for any signs of bearishness up here. So I'll look on some lower time frames like here. No SFP, no sweep or anything, but we're at range highs, right? We're at range highs, and we're also going into resistance. So I think according to the charts, I think we at least revisit maybe 51 cents. This little order block here. Maybe we revisit that. I just don't think we go all the way. This has been showing so much strength. I don't think we go into the green box. I really don't think so. I think we probably go back for this OB here and go from there. Let's actually zoom out real quick to the 12-hour. Yep. So all right, cool. All right, so there's that. XPL headed for higher, but also coming into an area of resistance. I'm noticing a little bit of a trend here. Let's see if the trend continues. Let's see here, coming kind of into an area of resistance, at least on the daily. Kind of coming into an area of resistance here. I mean, I guess we can really make anything fit our bias, right? But let's look at grass. Grass was another one. This one actually, it's approaching resistance, but it broke through the first one. Ondo, still a ton of upside left. Ton, still a ton of upside left. Near, ton of upside left. I haven't charted out like any high time frame stuff on Jito. But honestly, I think this one has a long way to go. Jito and XBL, I think they both have quite a bit to go. All right, so what's my point here? I'm looking at Bitcoin and I'm noticing that Bitcoin is coming into an area of resistance, right? We were looking for a higher low. We're looking for a higher low here, and I'm currently flat on perps. Like there wasn't anything that really tipped off. Like none of my limit orders hit. So I wasn't, my limit order on Jupe didn't hit. Limit order on XPL didn't hit. WorldCoin limit order didn't hit. I was in Jito and I took profit a little bit early, but fine. Still, profit is profit, right? But I'm looking at Bitcoin. I'm noticing it's coming into an area of resistance. This is like a breaker. We also noted the FVG here as well. Maybe I just put that on the chart so I can remember. But yeah, we have the FEG, we have the breaker. So I'm gonna look for any signs of bearishness, because again, like we're looking for Bitcoin to chop, and so I want to identify a range. What's a range potentially that could develop here for Bitcoin that kind of helps me to understand where to look for, where to better position for longs, where to better position, from an on-chain perspective, because the higher prices go, at least right now, the higher prices go, the closer to a top, like a local top we are. We're technically still in a bear market. We have some chop ahead of us. So at some point, you know, Bitcoin is going to kind of open up some of these entries for me. So that's kind of why I'm kind of looking for where's the higher low going to form here. Um, or not higher low. Where's the local top going to form here? But Bitcoin area of resistance, and I'm also noticing that on the others area of resistance, right? WorldCoin resistance, XPL resistance. We notice Jupe is coming into resistance, and a few others. But you kind of get my point here. Is that if we're going to get a pullback, or if we are going to go full bull, this is kind of like an area to watch. This is an area to watch here. So that's pretty much it. I mean, dude, we had some nice price action here today. Even good old XRP getting a nice little 12% move on the day. But Gito definitely, like, by far, um, Gito by far is the best performer today. So that's macro. That's macro. Any trades you guys are taking right now, like anything that you guys are very bullish on, or anything that you guys are doing, positioning on chain. Just gonna pivot back to some news we saw over the weekend. I'm sure you guys probably already knew this, right? Like, you already heard this, but the U.S. government, citing national security authorities, has issued an export control directive to suspend all access to Fable 5 and Mythos 5 by any foreign national, whether inside or outside the U.S., including foreign national Anthropic employees. The net effect of this order is that we must abruptly disable Fable 5 and Mythos for all our customers. Wow. So, um, shout out to Boy Main. And this comment here, on par. We need uncensorable AI. Right now, this kind of shows us that if an AI model gets too powerful, it kind of threatens the control that governments have. They will force these companies to essentially bend the knee, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. Is Anthropic basically bending the knee, and to the U.S. government. So I think that's bullish for stuff like Tau, for stuff like VVV, for example. Um, Actually, let's pivot over to Tau real quick, because even Tau coming into an area of resistance here on the 4 hour. I didn't even pick that up when we were going through the charts earlier. But as you can see, like, that news came out, and Tau is now up. Tau is up, almost 60% off the bottom. So obviously we see this narrative forming. I'm sure you guys are also kind of positioning for it. Any particular projects you guys are looking for, um, or anything that you're interested in, based on this narrative, to get exposure on chain, let me know. Um, but yeah, let's see here real quick. I know some people are pretty bullish on Pod, as well as VVV, the Taos of the world, etc. All right. So that is that's that. We even see Mythos, uh Mythos from Anthropic being able to solve Zek's, I'll just read it here. Zek up over 25% today as optimism improves following Zuko confirmation they're being aided by Anthropic's Mythos. Zcash enthusiast Mert says a series of updates are expected to be rolled out within this year. 3 parallel formal verifications, ironwood pool supply, quantum proofing, and tachyon pool with formal verification and simpler arithmetic. That's a lot. That's a lot to basically say they're going to run a security audit on the Zcash protocol using Mythos from Anthropic. So obviously Zcash as well, seeing a nice bounce. So I'm officially putting that back on the bullets up. Wow, 2x off the bottom here so far. And wouldn't you know, remember when what's the guy's name? Arthur Hayes. Remember when Arthur Hayes said the Holy Trinity is dead. The Holy Trinity is dead. Near, Zek, and Hype. And he sold them off. Imagine selling them off and all of them fully recovering. Zek fully recovered. Near, I think probably in profit from where he took, where he sold. Hype fully recovered, right? So we see that, following some of these bigger names in and out of these trades doesn't necessarily always, it's not always a signal, right? It's a lot of times it's just noise. But there you have it. There you have it. Crypto Jones, you say you're shorting ETH? Shorting ETH? Let's look at ETH real quick. I don't think this is the place to short ETH, bro. I don't. This is the place to long. I told you guys that. Actually, let me get that back up there. Bang. I told you guys that. Look, ETH at these levels here. This is where we get, long. We got long. If you got long here, bang. Got long here, bang. Like, prices have gone. This is what. Let's just call it 1550 to 4,000. That was a clean 2x on Ethereum at these levels. Same thing here, 1,400. And we went straight, we kind of licked the all-time high, but, 4,000, almost 5,000. Let's just call it $5,000, right? A couple X's. So from here, what do I expect? I think this is probably a good place to long ETH, not going to lie. Let's look at the lower time frames. Let's see if we had like a sweep of any kind, and maybe we take this off the daily and keep this on the weekly, so I can kind of keep the charts as clean as possible for you guys. So let's look at the daily real quick. Let's see here. Let's see. Not seeing any like any liquidity sweeps on the lower time frames. Just a small little FVG that formed here. Just a FVG that formed and we essentially bounced off of it. So I mean, look, there's no reason to be bearish on ETH right now, in my opinion. Let me take some of these lines away so we can see this thing a little bit more clear. Actually, this will be the swing high. That'll be the swing high. And this will be the swing low. And I'll make sure I set that there. All right. So yeah, in my opinion, again, same thing as like Solana. Maybe we do revisit the swing low at some point, maybe. But I think for now, we, look at every time we've been at these levels, we typically like to rock it from here on Ethereum, at least. All right. So there's that. I think we went through all of the majors. We covered Hype, WorldCoin, XPL, Jupe, we covered Grass a little bit, Near. I don't think we really need to cover anything on TON right now. Let's see. We covered Tau and we covered Zek as well. So not much else to talk about on the majors side of things. Let's see. Let's see what else. Let's move to Onchain, yeah? Let's move to Onchain. GTO BP. What's BP, Dom? I'm sorry. I don't know the initials. I know GTO, but BP, not really not really familiar with what that one means. All right, guys. So let's see here. Let's look at a quick tweet. Backpack and Sunrise working on equities is a big one. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I think Gito is just starting. I mean, you called it. You called it really well. I think a few weeks back we covered it. We've been covering it like all the way down here off this first breakout. Um, let me just blow that up for you guys. Yeah, we're covering Gito like somewhere back here. Somewhere back here when the announcement came out. Um, when the announcement came out about perps. Dom says listed spot SpaceX did really good volume. Solid. Wow. So we can see that this literally being the hyperliquid of Solana, essentially. Um, and this could end up doing really well. I wonder, let's see, how far do we have to go for all-time high? Holy moly. Holy moly. Still 530 plus. So we still have a long way to go, guys, until this actually breaks an all-time high. So definitely gonna be looking to get long here on multiple plays. Oh, no, I'm talking about backpack, not GTX. Oh, backpack. Got it. So they listed backpack listed SpaceX and it's doing really good volume. Yeah, we're just talking about that just a few moments ago, covering the volumes there on backpack. And if I'm not mistaken, there's actually some news that just came out a few minutes ago with regard to backpack. Crypto natives will get access to equities at the very top. Well, at the end of the day, through hyperliquid, we can long and short these things. So I like that we get whether it's top or not. I mean, the fact that we're getting access to, other markets, um, whether we're getting access to other markets, I think that's bullish. I think that's bullish regardless, like of where we start. Doesn't I mean us here in crypto, we should be the ones most familiar with how tops look with everything. I'll look at the backpack, the backpack token here real quick. Um, Let me just real quick go to DGen News and give you guys some context here. So we covered the volumes on the SpaceX just a moment ago, but yeah, 14 minutes ago, um, we covered this earlier in the stream. But as you can see here, Backpack's tokenized SPX becomes the highest 24-hour volume and most liquid tokenized stock on Solana. Here's what the CEO of Backpack had to say with the debut of SpaceX behind us. We look forward to many more sunrise launches to come, bringing to life the dream of internet capital markets on Solana. Very, very interesting. So let me actually go to the chart here and take a look and see, see if there's anything, um, see like, if the entries look good on the backpack token here. Let's see. Backpack. So that's the context. Dom says that 120 mil may be cheap for backpack, not gonna lie, especially if they start doing more spot equity positions. All right, let's see. Let's see here. Backpack is off because I saw that they had a man. Look at this thing. Holy crap. When did this pump start? Started in May, just a couple weeks ago. I didn't realize Backpack had a token. I'm not even gonna lie. Until it was maybe like 2 or 3 days ago. I didn't realize it was. I mean, dude, this was out for a few months. But this is looking really good. This chart here is looking really good. And we have other IPOs coming up later on this year, like OpenAI. So we obviously have more attention that'll be coming to this platform, and if they can, I mean, they've proven the proof of concept is already there in terms of the token itself. The proof of concept is already there. But so, now that it's there, they obviously have product market fit with the volumes that they're experiencing. They're the most liquid, they have the most liquid equity tokens, on Solana. And I mean, what else is there? What is there not to love? Right? There's so much good that's happening on this platform. So nothing but good things. This could be like a cards type of play that just kind of withstands the market. It withstands the market. Okay. So I think that's obviously, I don't think right now is a great place to buy. I don't like buying tops, even if the coin looks really nice. I don't know if we get that much that this big of a pullback on backpack. Man, it's really hard to say where would be a good entry on this. Let's just use some regular let's just use some support. I mean, we have like a nice this kind of area here acted as a level of resistance for a little while. Um so maybe there, but honestly, a shallow pullback on this one kind of makes a lot of sense. Because I could see the hype kind of dying down a little bit over the next couple of weeks. Now that the OpenAI, or rather the SpaceX um, IPO is come and gone, the hype will kind of die down. People will then sleep on it again. Attention on it will be low. This should open up an entry, and I'm assuming the entry should be around here, like the first, the just a 50% just a 50% move here back. Ave the Brave, chill. You nailed the pullback on Squire, brother. Let's talk about the Squire trade, shall we? Let's talk about the Squire trade. I showed you guys a little bit about the Squire trade earlier. Um, let's see, where's my Squire chart at? Where's my Squire chart? Here it is. Bang, right there at the top. Bam, look at that, man. Look at that. Crushed it. Crushed it. Nice little 2x over the weekend. And it looks like it's still trying to make a run, but we know that Squire has amazing fundamentals. The fundamentals are there for Squire. We talked about the thesis that we had um, a little bit last week. Let me go back real quick. Let me go back real quick. Mm, and I'll find the Squire tweet for you guys. Here it is. So obviously you have the inference marketplace. It's obviously 40% cheaper. They're working with like a ton of like huge minds. I think for me, what makes this so important is that it's inference is a commodity. That's essentially, you need inference for any AI agent, any AI model, what have you. So the TAM for inference is absolutely massive. And you couple that with the pivot entry, with the 886, with the 886 on the fibs. And obviously we called out the head and shoulders there as well. Users can earn 80% of the fees in USDC. They obviously have like natural product market fit. And I believe they also had some recent stuff come out about Squire. It was just over the weekend. I believe I might have tweeted about it a bit on Friday. Yes, 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 yes. So, we have the natural synergy between VVV and Squire, because Squire's tech can be used to as like a smart router and act as like a marketplace layer on top of Venice, Open Router, Morpheus, and a few others. Um, because when you stake VVV, you get daily inference credits. But what if, those credits aren't being used? This marketplace is for that. And because Squire gives Solana native access to, this marketplace, because they give access to this marketplace, um, and any user of Venice can kind of use Squire's tech. It just allows Squire allows Venice to extend their reach into Solana. And I think that's really, really important. I mean, it's one thing if you think, AI agents will only, or some of this demand will only exist on Base, or it'll only exist on Solana. Um, but to be able to give access to users across, multiple chains, I think that's really important. And obviously to multiple providers, I think that's also important as well. And I think with everything going on with Anthropic and the government, obviously, VVV is really solid. And I think the more important thing that we need to take note of is this. Friend of the show, Ika, he really said it well. I think most people see the buy sell inference marketplace angle, but they don't see the privacy side. And so I think I'm going to do a write up on like why the privacy aspect of things is um, um, I think on the private side of things, I think there's a lot to a lot that needs to be said. A lot that needs to be said. So I think the market is still kind of sleeping on that, or potentially they're just maybe waking up to it. But either way, definitely. I literally marked this out on Friday, and it's absolutely perfect. It's absolutely perfect. We have some other bags doing well. Opal. I kind of want to see Opal touch this like sub 2 mil zone before like fully reversing. That's where the move to new all-time highs, that's where that played out. It came from this green zone here. So waiting to see if we can get another tap of that zone. Obviously we know we've had Opal on the show quite a bit. We've had them on a few times, um, and we talked about the ACE round. We've talked about the behavioral data aspect to it. We've talked about the OpenAI connections. So again, as the market is kind of hunting for exposure to the OpenAI IPO, or as the OpenAI IPO becomes attracts more attention, and as it gets closer, I think these like OpenAI, I guess I can call them OpenAI trades, will start to pop off. And I think Opal is one of them that will that are poised to do pretty well. Let's go to their Twitter real quick. Let me just make sure there's nothing. Let's see if there's any long-awaited ACE round. Okay, that was June 4th. Okay, haven't seen. Okay, it's been about 11 days, so about a week and a half or so. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they haven't posted in a while. Let me see if their founders posted in a. He's also pretty giga brained, obviously. Let's see, Shenzhen ByteDance talk. Okay, if you know ByteDance, that's the company behind TikTok. So obviously I don't know, there's some conversation. Um, Obviously, we see the connection there with OpenAI. Okay, so nothing on the fundamental side yet, like or I should say, no catalyst or anything like that yet. But I think essentially, from a chart perspective, this will be a really good place to I mean, 2.5 mil right here is a really good place, if I'm being honest, to go ahead and start securing a position. But if we really want to be surgical about our entries, sub 2 mil is the place. Um, I don't, did you guys see Pi? Holy crap. So we did the deep dive on Pi last week, on last Friday. We did the deep dive on Pi, and we basically said, hey, look, this is looking really good. Um, Pi, it's a model that from an intelligence standpoint, it doesn't have more raw intelligence than some of the other frontier models, but it has enough to kind of keep up with it, um, to keep up with these frontier models and give you outputs that are comparable to what you'll get from them. But it gives you, faster inference. Um, it also gives you, the outputs are 10x cheaper, I believe. It was like 4x or 10x cheaper than than normal. So you obviously have like this competitive edge that Pi has, and I think that's gaining more traction alongside the the Anthropic U.S. government news that came out over the weekend. And then I heard Ansem was looking into it. So I think that also kind of drove some of the price action as well. So that is looking really good. I think my next head and shoulders here is on 3. We're in the pivot entry and we're forming this like triple bottom action right here. Let's see. Yeah, we're forming this triple bottom action here. And I mean, I don't know if you want to call that a head and shoulders, you can, but obviously, um, where we pulled back quite a bit. We pulled back quite a bit from all-time highs. We're basically down what is this, 89%, 80, 90%, something like that. Max, we went down 80%. No, max, we went down 82%. But yeah, I mean, a lot of things lining up real quick. Let's look at 3 and see if there's any like, catalyst or anything. I don't think I saw anything coming up for them, but what I did see was just a chart. I mean, obviously we've had them on the show, and we've had them on the show, and we know the tech from a tech perspective. This looks good. They partnered with IBM and some other bigger names, so that's why we see that huge candle, that huge move to all-time high. Obviously, it got sold right off. But I'm assuming, especially as things kind of as time goes on, I really think that this begins another climb up, round 2, if you will. Let's see. Yeah, looks like they're partnered with Alibaba, Anthropic, MCP integration. Okay. So no real like no updates outside. Let me actually let's go to their Twitter, because I believe, yes, here. Oh wow, you got the IBM comment here, but we're building 3D AI agents live with IBM. Join us for a live build session, from a single prompt to a fully interactive, embeddable agent that sees, speaks, and takes action. This is what the next inference for AI looks like. Very interesting. Okay. So they're working, it's one thing to just have like, oh, we partnered with IBM, and it's like their startup program that anyone can apply to or something like that. Kind of surface level, very meaningless. But with this, they're building alongside IBM. I think that's actually pretty impressive. I think that's pretty impressive. Good question here, Crypto Jones. Clued and Opal sitting at the same price. Who's got better RR? All right, so let's approach this. Because I don't know if everyone's gonna like my answer on this. Let's go up to Clued. We haven't talked about Clued yet. I think Clued would be the better one here. I'll tell you why. I think there's a lot of like speculative stuff that you have with Opal, the OpenAI connection, etc. But the builder's relatively young. He's been, that's not taking away from the tech. The tech, this discussion isn't about the tech. Tech on both sides are really good. But, from a builder standpoint, obviously there's more there on this side, on the Clued side, from an experience standpoint. But also, Clued is building like this is memory. This is memory. Like Opal is behavioral data. Tech aside, we're talking token. So let's real quick. Okay, because I was going to talk about the TAM. I think Clued has the TAM for Clued is absolutely insane. I think from a token TA standpoint, Opal is definitely sitting at like these more high R&R entries, right? Like as you can see, we're pushing into the 0.786 region. We're just spitting distance away from the ultimate RR zone. So from a TA standpoint, Opal is looking good because here, I mean, on Clued here, even look here. I mean, like if we really like go back to the origin of the move, you know, we're above the golden pocket where, this hasn't even retraced. And you guys know, I've been waiting for this to go like, deep into the buy zone sub 1.5 for a long time. So the R&R for me, there is where, I'm looking to really, really DCA and fill my bags, if you will. But so yeah, so because of where we are from an entry standpoint, we're farther away from these value zones on Clued. So maybe here Opal looks better, but from a TAM standpoint, builder standpoint, I really like Clued because they're building. I don't want to say a new primitive, but let me show you guys a picture because I posted this the other day. Here it is. Here it is. So obviously you have context with the MCP that was built by Anthropic. You have communication agent to agent built by Google. You have payments X402, Coinbase, and then you have 3 memory with PMP and the technology that Clued is building. So they're building out an entire sector, an entire, like, memory is an entire new sector. And obviously we've talked about the Clued fundamentals a lot. We've talked about the benchmarks, the lack of hallucination, the efficiency, how much cheaper it is when you incorporate this technology. So there's obviously, from a fundamental standpoint, both are really good, but yeah. Heavy resistance on a downtrend on Opal. No, let's see. Let's take a look at the Opal chart real quick. I mean, so what I look for on charts is for a potential like pivot point to really like pinpoint where the chart can likely reverse. When you look at the fibs, 2 things help me to do that. The fibs 0.786, 886, those are really, really key levels. But then also we've been talking about this pivot entry on the charts that I've been tracking on Solana, and these pivot entries typically have played out. And that's because, at least in my opinion, the psychology, and again, there's no writing on this, there's no way to confirm this. This is just kind of like what I've been thinking about, is typically there is a down candle that will create the move, the larger move for there's a down candle that will create the larger move for tokens. And when that coincides with these lower levels on the fib, I just find that R&R like a really, really, really nice. And I think it's because down here, you have a lot of holders, people who've accumulated quite a bit, but then you also have up here, anything above that here, these are all FOMO buyers. These are all FOMO buyers. Oh my gosh, Ansom's in. Oh my gosh, Solana retweeted XYZ. So, you have these FOMO buyers that essentially will get in or out of a position, because of fear. Maybe they're now down on their position, so they sell. Maybe they haven't saw Ansom tweet about it again, so they sell, or Solana hasn't interacted, and the trade becomes like boring, and then they sell off. And typically where these sell-offs tend to end are these 0.786 and 0.886 levels. And in this case, it coincides with the pivot, because right here, anyone that was buying here was FOMO buying. Anyone that was buying here, anyone that was buying down here, They did the research, they really developed a thesis, and they bag held, they posted about it. They were writing long write-ups and stuff. And these people also will sell, in these higher areas over here, right? Like everyone needs to take profit. So you have down here the real believers, and you have up here just kind of the traders, the FOMO buyers, etc. And these people typically are the easiest ones to get rid of on a chart, but they run out of ammo to sell typically at these lower depressed levels. These lower depressed levels down here, and at these pivot spots on the chart. So that's the, at least my thinking and thesis behind why this pivot entry level, and why these 0.886 and 0.786 levels play out all the time. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm gathering together all the fundamentally good projects and just buying them when they hit the 0.786 level. It's as simple as that. You buy them at depressed levels, and then you sell them to the FOMO buyers that are willing to buy these tops. So you ask me, why is even though this is a downtrend, I'm expecting for that to change down here. This is the most likely place. Down here is the most likely place on this chart specifically where where the chart could likely reverse. Your fibs not highs to lows on Opal. Yeah. They're highs to lows. They're highs to lows. So I don't have on my setting on the fib, I don't have let me show you. Bang, bang. I don't have the 0 set. So when you see the 0, you see like it's up here. See like it's all the way up here. So it is to the top. Oh well, it's a little off. Yeah, so it is to the top there. But on the fibs, I just don't have the 0 set because I just don't want it. Less lines on my chart, the better. that's why. But yeah, like it's coming from this swing low down here to this this swing low down here to this high down here, this high up here. That's where I have the fibs drawn to, and that's why I say that this is the most likely place for a reversal. All right, so that's the setup. They were on MCG. Absolutely, they were. They absolutely were MCG multiple times, I believe. Was it twice? Once or twice? Definitely once, at least. But definitely friends of the show. Definitely great tech that they're building over there. And I just. But again, with Clued, I really like the TAM. I just need them deeper in this buy zone, man. Like this chart has barely been able to make it in this buy zone. It did it very. My limit is at 1.5, bro, and it's like it almost got there, but not quite there just yet. Let's see. TCG also did really well. This is another one that I was telling you guys about, last Friday. And there's two things. There's the pivot entry, but then there's also these like clusters of buys and sells that tend to act as support. It's a point on the chart where there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of traders, buying and selling. There's a lot of volume. And so right here we see this as a pivot point on the chart, and it lines up with the 0.886. If we zoom in, and I told you guys pretty much we did tap that level very, very loosely. But last week on the show, I was like, these lines aren't absolute, because last week on the show, I literally told you guys, as we're coming into this area here at the bottom, does it really matter if you buy exactly where the red line is on your fib? Does it really matter? Or can you just understand that, hey, this is a really high R&R area? This region right here is really high R&R. So what I'm going to do, I don't really need to wait for it to hit the spot exactly. I can just go ahead and buy now. And these are more so just kind of like lines. These are more so just kind of loose lines that we can keep track of. But yeah, this looks really good. This went up 2x from our call last week, starting to cool off now. But you guys know, if you guys were here last week and you watched that stream, basically what I said was, it's cards beta. I hate to say it like that because it's obviously it has its own tech. It has its own thesis. It has its own founder, and so I don't think it's a fair thing to just label things as just simple beta, but it's just a good way of summarizing the thesis. Cards does well, and so this will do well, especially when you consider, I'm pretty sure that Cards invested in TCG. And this was another one that was on the show as well. So yeah, TCG looking good. What else do we have? Man, look at freaking Pi. Dude, Pi is looking so good. All right. We talked about 3. We talked about pretty much everything that needs to be talked about. I'd watch loosely this Dexter chart. This also is hitting the pivot entry right here. I don't really need no fancy fibs or anything like that. I mean, if we were to put a fib on here, swing high to swing low would be here. And obviously that lines up with a nice key area, the 886 on the fib. But I can't confirm Cards is invested in TCG. Okay, perfect. Because I'm like, dude, I read so many things about so many projects on a daily basis. Like my head is like spinning, bro. My head is spinning. All right. Yeah, so Dexter, I have to do a little bit more like fundamentals side to this trade and confirm things and look in to see like what they've been doing lately. But as far as from a TA standpoint, it looks really good. Looks really good. So yeah, a lot of things looking very, very nice. Claw coming from the pivot entry as well, bouncing off look, I'm telling you guys, man, look, these pivot entries, bro, you hit a buy down here in these entry and they just hit. And I think it goes for the same reason as like I was saying before. Down here, you have your real OGs, your people that's doing research, forming a thesis, fundamentals. But then, above this pivot entry, like you have here is just all the FOMO buyers. The oh my gosh, my favorite KOL bought, or Solana retweeted, or totally shilled, or this or that or whatever. And these are the easiest people to get rid of. And then after you've gotten rid of everyone that FOMO buyed, typically at these levels, the only people left are the people that actually believe, actually really, really hold these things. And so this is the place where it tends to act as support. So again, like these things just keep keep playing out. Let's see. Ayo, chat, real quick. Let me I'm about to look at the chat real quick, but before I do, I wanted to just get a nice clean clip real quick for our clippers. And I think the best chart to get a clip would be here. All right. Let's see. Let's take I'm clipping here, chat. I'm clipping. So let me cook real quick. Let me cook 1 13 30. All right, so here is the thesis around the importance of the pivot entry. A lot of times on a pivot entry, what you'll see, or at least what I've noticed, is that's the place where sellers tend to get exhausted. So on charts, you have these lower depressed levels where essentially these are holders. These are real believers in projects. But price gets to a certain point that a lot of people tend to FOMO buy, whether their favorite KOL bought, whether, totally shilled or Ansem retweeted or what have you. These tends to, or someone buys on FOMO. These tends to, throw price into price discovery. And at least right now in this bear market, these people, you can get rid of them, right? And typically, after these favorite KOLs haven't interacted, or these people that brought the attention, that attention fades after some time. Typically, these people sell off. And typically, The place where that selling tends to end is the last down candle before an up move that leads to massive price explosion. So that's how I like to time these entries. I just basically build up a list of projects that I like that are fundamentally sound, and I just wait for the TA to line up. And typically these pivot entries, especially when they coincide with the 0.886 or the 0.786 on the fib extension, those are typically like the sweet spots to buy on any on-chain chart, at least on Solana. Bang. All right, guys, that was that was the clip. That was the clip. Thank you so much for thank you so much for hanging in there with me, guys. I really needed to. I thought that was a really good one for to get clipped up. All right, let's look at the chat. Thoughts on GameFi. All right, let's get into it, Hawks. Let's get into it. I saw Kins, and I actually have a new GameFi thing to show you guys as well. But let me pull it. Where's my Kins chart at? Where's my Kins chart? I think it's over here. Let's see here. Ooh, ISO is looking very nice. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the Kins chart. All right. So last week we talked about this, and I haven't looked at this chart since last week because I've just been seeing every single day it's just going up and up and up. I marked out a couple pivot entries. There's a new one here that we can look out for. I don't know if these entries these will get hit, at least probably maybe at some point. But for a quick trade type thing, I don't think this was gonna hit it short term anyway, unless they rug or something. But yeah, no, GameFi meta, I'm on the fence here, Hawks. Here's the reason why. On the good side, you have it's a bear market. There's not much to do. There's a bear market. There's not much to do. And so if you are here in 2022 and you were here when they were doing, we were buying hamster racing coins, and animal racing meta was an actual meta and narrative, you get the sense that in bear markets, people are bored. They'll try anything. And so when you had TG bots that helped you play poker or blackjack or all these games, or you had, hamster racing or this or that, whatever the case, because hamster racing, like that literally went from like 0 to 30 mil in a day in a bear market or something crazy like that. I think this is similar, right? You have a bear market. There's not much to do, especially like, where like there aren't many launches. There aren't many, there's not much craziness going on. And so when there's a new game to try out, and you say, hey, like you can earn off this game. All right, it's a bear market. I'm bored and I need money to buy on-chain coins. It almost literally fits perfectly. The problem that I have is I just don't know how long this will last. I'm not sure if this is a long-lasting, like full-on narrative, or is it just kind of like here today, gone tomorrow type of thing. That's the part that I'm not, I'm unsure of. And here's the other side. Here's the other side of it, Hawks. We're at 13 mil. How many coins have made it? We hit an all-time high of, let's see, 19 mil. How many coins have made it past 20 mil in the last 8 months? Since October 10th, 2025, how many coins have made it from 0 to 20 mil and have stayed above 20 mil for a significant period of time, outside of a few obvious outliers? But literally new launch, like I think this was launched on Pump Fund, and maybe we limit it to Pump Fund. Maybe we just limit it to Pump Fund, right? Like how many Pump Fund launches have actually come and they've sustained higher prices for a significant period of time? That's the part where I'm not like, I don't have the confidence. And look, here's the thing. I want Kins to prove me wrong, because if I'm right, I'm on the right side of this trade and I don't lose any money trying to bid this chart at the all-time highs. If I'm wrong, This just becomes the first of many tokens in a GameFi, in a potential GameFi narrative, right? You're already seeing other GameFi stuff pop up. And so that's the part for me that, like, you know, I'm just trying to play it carefully, right? On one side, you have it's a legit narrative, this RuneScape style game. Let me show you guys, I'll show you guys a tweet. I think it has like 7,000 players. You know, people are buying stuff, like the game looks good. People are actually involved. But think back to Friend Tech from last bear market. A lot of people use Friend Tech and then there's, you know, just didn't use it anymore. So, but if this starts a full-on meta, I still have a chance to get into something else. That's the part for me that, like, where so right now I'm fading Kins as far as like buying it, because from a trading standpoint, like, it's literally just been hitting new all-time high day after day. And, you know, we're still in a bear market. Tokens haven't necessarily like performed well. Not many have even reached 10 to 15 mil market cap. Like Opal didn't do that. Like Clued hasn't even hit 5 mil yet. And that's like a massive project. So taking all of that context into consideration, from a trading standpoint, I don't want to buy it here. But if I look, let's say this goes to 100 mil tomorrow, that's good. That's a good liquidity injection, good stimmy check for the trenches, and then all of our bags bounce. You know, people start buying the Clueds, the Opals, the Squires, or maybe they buy more GameFi stuff, right? But at the end of the day, we can take advantage of that buy pressure because we were on the we were careful. I fade at first until you prove me wrong, and when you prove me wrong, all right, now it's time to get involved. So I'm fading Kins at first. If it proves me wrong, then I still have other bags that I can buy that'll definitely pop up. Speaking of which, let me before I move on to the next project, I really want to believe, but I'm tired of being hurt by gaming. Dude, Hawks, PFP to PFP, bro. I came into crypto and my thesis was so bullish for gaming. I was so bullish for gaming because gaming was actually where I wanted to end up. Essentially, what I wanted to do was ride the cycle, you know, make off like a bandit, and then I pivot to gaming because I mean, who doesn't love gaming? You know what I mean? Especially when you can like play to earn, like that's crazy. It's a crazy concept. So I thought that like by the end of like this cycle, I thought GameFi would have come a lot further, and it literally hasn't. So I feel you when I say I don't want to be hurt by gaming. I've been waiting on gaming for years now, but that's why I know that the upside for the GameFi narrative is massive, because it doesn't matter bull or bear market, people still play games, and that was kind of the thesis. It doesn't matter if there's a bear market, people still play games. Look at Arc Raiders, look at Marathon, look at Call of Duty or Battlefield 6 or any of these other popular games. People are playing those right now. Rainbow Six Siege. So yeah, that's also why I'm cautious right now, because I know how long it's taken for GameFi to even get any traction. Like it got a little traction around got a little traction around the metaverse hype, and then it just died. So yeah, like, and I'm willing to wait. And you know, I would rather miss the first spark of a true GameFi narrative than bid every single potentially good GameFi narrative game and then get hurt all along the way. So yeah, willing to miss Kins, but if it really starts the narrative, happy to buy something else. Appreciate the insight, Chill. Of course, Hawks, anytime, bro. Anytime. Bins, what do you think about Bernie? Whew. Let's okay. Bins, real quick, before we talk about Bernie, let me just finish the GameFi narrative. Since we're already here, let's just talk about it real quick. There are some stats on the Kins game real quick. I just wanted to make sure make sure that we cover it really well. And then I have one more GameFi game to cover, and then we'll get into Bernie, since we're already here, Benz. But I won't take too long, I promise. So Ansem actually posted a tweet about Kins, and that's why you see on the chart literally what I was talking about just a few minutes ago. Oh my gosh, Ansem tweeted, let's buy because he tweeted about it, etc., etc., etc. FOMO buyers, fodder. No, just kidding. I don't want to label anybody like that. But 7,000 new users on Kins, and servers consistently full daily while people make money in the game by selling items in gold. One of the first novel on-chain games I've seen in a long time, with sustained interest over the past month or so. And basically, like, this is how the game looks.
Live stream, that's all good. We're going to do a quick little rundown on Contera.
So I'll just kind of like pause it. But yeah, I mean, it's not like no battle royale or anything like that. It very much gives me like RuneScape vibes. Like, he goes through some parts of the game. You have like different things you can do. You can farm, you can create land and all this stuff. And this is the RuneScape UI that he's dude, I don't know. Have you guys played RuneScape? Has anyone here played RuneScape? Let me know. Because RuneScape was it was an awesome game, man. It's an awesome game. But yeah, that's basically how it looks. But yeah, I mean, the Ansem thesis tweet on my bags hit like crack in the 80s. Hey, that's crazy. So yeah, that's some stuff on Kins here. That's some stuff on Kins. Let's see if the narrative has legs, if it can sustain over a long time. Another game that I was looking at was World of Cloudcraft. Okay. So let's not click on that. All right, bang. Boom. Let's throw a chart up real quick. Let's get some quick context on this chart. World of Cloudcraft. Now, remember, this is a new narrative, so likely if Kins goes down, this will likely go down and pull back too, right? So that's the other reason why I'm like, I don't really know if I want to get too involved with some of these, because again, they're all hitting all-time highs. But one to just kind of keep on the watch list and be aware of. All right. Let's see. I'm just marking out some. I guess this is a pivot entry here. Let me just mark this out real quick. Bam. Yeah, actually, this is a much better. This is a pivot entry right here. All right, yeah, I'm just looking at some different time frames. Looks like the 4-hour time frame is the best one right now. But yeah, like here's the nice little view. I mean, I don't know if it pulls all the way back down there. So let's throw a fib real quick and just kind of see. Yeah, I'll probably say sub 6. I'd say here's a good place to buy. I'd say there's a good place to buy, and let's do this. Mark out buy zone. Boom. And like I said, yo, you get together good projects, something that holds some sort of weight with the thesis, and you just mark off, the 0.786, see if it coincides with any key like support or resistance levels. And that'll be a great like entry point. At least that's how I approach it anyway. Let's see. Bang. Bang. Yeah, kinda, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. I don't know. Like, there's not really like clear support on this one. Crypto Jones says, reminds me of Capybara thing from a few months back. Kind will probably die off soon. Yeah, like I remember Capybara like that. It was good for like, a day or two, or not a day or two, maybe a week or two, maybe a month or two, however long it was. But it had some players, it had, some stuff, but then it just kind of died. Yeah. So we'll see. But let's so this is like just from a TA standpoint, 1.3 mil. kind of a top area, so not a place where I want to buy. So that's why we're kind of charting out some entries. Here is the full thesis from the homie Jeff. Great follow, in my opinion. World of Cloudcraft is an open source MMORPG, similar in style to classic World of Warcraft, playable in a web browser. It is completely free to play and supports multiplayer online features, persistent characters, combat, trading guilds, and other classic MMO elements. Core features and gameplay: you have all these different classes, 1v1 arenas. You have different characters. You can do quests, and so far 7,500 players have registered. It says, most importantly, this game has primarily built using AI. As of the time of editing this tweet, hold on, I'm going to drink a cup of water. Dude, we got 666 people in here. Can someone drop or someone get someone to join? I got to get this 666 off my screen. Got to get this 666 off the screen, guys. So get somebody else in here. Let's get somebody else in here. Hold on, let me take a sip of water real quick. All right. So it says, most importantly, this game was primarily built using AI. As of the time of editing this tweet, over 11,000 accounts have been created with 32 players online. It seems that right after launch, 7,500 players registered. The project currently has 613 stars on GitHub. It has no token. The existing token was spontaneously created by the community. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. All right, 670 in here, y'all. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. We needed to get that 666 off my screen. Yes, Hawks, I rebuke it. I rebuke it. All right. So I'm kind of fading this token now. AI generated, it's basically, I don't want to say it's slop, right? Like, I don't want to say it's slop, but it's his papers have been cited. Okay, this was about the dev. The dev is actually quite capable, founded an AI-driven esports predictions platform called Sports Flare, which is acquired by Onchain in 2023 for approximately 8 to 10 million USD. Also founded Idyllic, an AI-generated content tool. In 2025, he was appointed VP of AI, leading AI strategy at publicly listed company. Previously, he also worked at large-scale AI systems at Zero. His papers have been cited by Google, Amazon, and others, demonstrating a solid technical background. Okay, here's my problem. It was not launched by him. Oh my goodness, it was not. There's some that I like, but there's some that I don't like. Wait, hold on. You guys see this paid partnership? Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm fading this. I think I'll keep it on the watch list, but I'm fading this for now. All right, so that's the other GameFi. That's the other GameFi token. I mean, look, the game, for what it's worth, the game looks good. The game looks good. 7,500 users on June 13th, according to this tweet. People are now running their AI agents inside the world of Cloudcraft. Interesting. Okay, so all right, so the dev has has a technical background, but the problem is he didn't launch the token. Because he didn't launch the token, I don't know who launched it. I don't know what intentions that they have, but obviously, we've seen some sort of 6-7 LOL. Yeah, I'll keep it on the watch list. I'll keep it on the watch list and just kind of chill. Just kind of chill on it. Okay, so that's it for the GameFi section. Bins, you're up. You're up, Bins. You had something in the chat. Y'all remember when Drake said it like that? In the chat. What do you think about Bernie? Let's take a look at Bernie real quick. You know what? I think we covered all of our utility plays, I believe. So maybe it's time for us to by the way, we have ISO coming on later this week. Chart looks absolutely fantastic. I say this to say, look, man, pivot entry, 0.786, 0.886, key level, 2x, easy money. All right. Anywho, meme coins. Meme coins. All right. So here is. I guess I don't have Bernie on here. Let's pull up Bernie. Oof. Bernie's coming back. Bernie's making a comeback. All right. So if we go to the 3-day, jeez. Let's just erase all this stuff here. Technically just leaving the pivot. Go down to the 12-hour. We can erase that as well. Yeah, so I mean, Bernie's actually not bad here, Benz. Good call out. Bernie's not in a bad spot at all. So keep in mind that this candle here, actually let me Control Z, hit that. So yeah, Bernie here, you know, this pivot candle here that we just outlined is where this move to a new all-time high originated. We went from like, what is this? Let's just call it sub 3 mil market cap to 25 mil almost. So obviously, you know, there's a lot of momentum behind this. I believe it was because of a Tully shield and bang, you know. And like I told you guys, above the pivot entry, a lot of times there's a lot of FOMO buyers that happen. And you can typically get rid of a lot of these folks. And that's basically what we did. Now, it is leaving the pivot entry, but it's up, you know, call it 2x off the bottom a little bit. I'm not going to be too picky about this one. Because this buying really started just here. So you're just maybe 12 hours behind. So this actually isn't a bad spot, in my opinion, just to slam into it. In my opinion, this looks really good. This looks really good here, Benz. Because you know that your downside is limited. So that's, if we were up here, you know, and we've recovered, maybe if we were at like these levels, if the chart made it up here and we're just kind of like doing this, that I'd have been like, hey, look, you might want to be careful, maybe wait for a pullback or something like that. But as it stands, we're barely outside of the zone. Again, same thing that I told you guys last week on the TCG chart. It doesn't need to be exactly following all these lines. You can essentially just, you know, buy just, you know, a little, just in the area, generally speaking. And you don't have to be super surgical unless you want to be, unless that's, you know, kind of like your thing. Crypto Jones, do you take into consideration any other metrics like volume, holders, quality of traders? No, sir. I know a lot of people, they use RSI, they use moving averages, they use like this or that. Like, I mainly use three things. I use support and resistance. I use fibs, and then I use these pivot entries. That's pretty much it. And a pivot entry, i.e., also, by the way, could be one candle or a cluster of buys and sells. But anywho, that's really it. Like, I try to keep things as simple as I can. Here's the reason, Crypto Jones, and let me just quickly, for the clip, guys, for the sake of the clip. All right. So this is a great question, Crypto Jones. Do you take into consideration any other metrics like volume, holders, quality of traders? The simple answer is no. Why? Because I want to keep my system as simple as possible. There are a lot of people that have, you know, they have moving averages, they have RSI, you know, volume. They look at like a ton of different chart patterns and stuff like that. for the most part, what I use three things: support and resistance, fibs, and the pivot entries. Those are the things that I look for the most because number one, they work. We outlined so many charts today that when you have a pivot entry that also coincides with the has confluence with the 0.786 or the 0.886, the hit rates on those tend to be above, like, let's say 70%. I would say above like 50, 60, 70%, somewhere around there. But the hit rate is quite high, especially if you have good asset selection. Like if you're not just doing these on random meme coins, you're doing these on like projects that could actually come back based on fundamentals, metrics, and and all the stuff that we like to build a thesis. That's how I'm looking at these things. I want to build a fundamental side thesis and I want to build a TA thesis, but I want to keep the TA side as simple as possible. You start doing too much and it tends to be too much noise in the system and paralysis by analysis. You end up not even getting to take advantage of it at all. So yeah, that'll be my answer to that. Good question there, Crypto Jones. And thank you guys for allowing me to get another clip in. Gonna send these off today, and hopefully we can get some good clips for the MCG Alpha account. Let's see. GameFi will one day be a huge use case of crypto, but trying to speculate on when that meta will take off is tough. Absolutely. And that's why I say I would much rather wait for it to happen, right? Like I would much rather wait for the GameFi narrative to kick off than be bidding these things and getting dragged down to zero every single time we think we're getting a narrative changer. Shout out Capybara, shout out Hamster Racing, shout out all the previous stuff that has come and gone, including Frentech. It's not GameFi, it's like SocialFi, but whatever. All right. What's the add-on you have for the info top right saying when it was called and the P&L? What you talking about here? Imagine fading Anson. You're funny. What do you mean? What's the add-on you have for the info in the top right? I guess I was on a previous screen there. The top right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Let me know. Clarify this for me. Oh, when you were watching the tweet of the guy shilling walk. Oh, the add-on. Yes. Let's see. It is called Front Run. It's called Front Run. I don't know if you could get access to it right now. But you can try. But if you go to any Twitter page, like basically it's called Front Run Pro. It gives you a ton of stuff. And I was looking at, I believe it was Jeff's tweet. Let me see, Jeff. Yes, Jeff. And scroll. Yes. So this it gives you some of this stuff, gives you some of this stuff, but it's basically called Front Run Pro. And Front Run Pro just gives you a lot of like just additional information. When you go to a certain profile, you see like how many CAs, and you see deleted tweets, you see name changes, you see smart followers. So I can go here and I can see who follows this guy. OKX Wallet follows him. Oh, wow, nice. Do they follow me? Let's check. Dang it, they don't. I'm not important. Crap. All right. But yeah. So you get to see all of this additional information, and it really helps for quick DD on like certain projects. Like when you go to some like a project's page, you can see if they they changed their name to a different name, and or if they they deleted tweets or whatever. So it's actually really good. But yeah, go to their Twitter and see if you can download. It was completely free and everything. But I think they have like a paid version as well. All right. I'm just making my way through these comments. I haven't looked at the chat in a little while. For real, that was the sole reason I joined crypto, but became a community member. LOL for GameFi. Yeah, yeah. Crypto Jones, AI and privacy are the two narratives that are hot today. I'm not fighting the trend, but being early is where the biggest gains are made. Yep, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. AI and privacy, and even the crossover between AI and privacy. Like those things are separate, but there's also some products that bring those two narratives together. And I think that is going to be and that is honestly, that's Squire. Squire also has that privacy aspect to it, which is why I was really, really bullish on it. And it was a good part of the thesis. Let's see what imagine fading Ansem. Bins looks like it hit the pivot. Yeah, it definitely did. Yeah, yeah. I'm glad that you guys are like starting to like use this as well. Because sometimes I just like I talk about these and like I hope that it provides someone with a little bit of value, but sometimes I'm not sure. So I'm glad that you're actually like looking for it. Um I just wonder, if this is like some sort of like, I don't know, downtrend, like a down channel. Oof, look at that. Look at that, huh? Let's go to the 12-hour and let's show you guys this. So this is the other thing. If you look, there's a breakout here, Bins, by the way, that we didn't see before. It's a nice little breakout on this chart happening. So we're in this kind of down channel for a long time. We're in this down channel for a very long time, and now it seems that we're breaking out of the downtrend. So, and the best place to do it is again in that pivot zone. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys are looking for that stuff. Ave the Brave, new Met tweet. Let's check it out, shall we? Excuse me. Meteora AG. Meteor AG. All right, let's check it out. Today you can buy a stock and market make it at the same time. In the last 4 hours alone, LPs generated over 3,000 fees on SPX pools. Hold tokenized SpaceX shares while earning fees on trades happening on chain. Dude, DLMMing is just a freaking crazy unlock, bro. Crazy unlock. Crazy. I believe Dom had a nice, since we're on the topic, let's see here. All right. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I was looking for a quick tweet, but it's fine. But yeah, I mean, this is pretty powerful, man. I mean, to have tokenized stocks on I think it's absolutely insane. So can only imagine like, how these things tend to play out. And these things probably end up ranging and stuff for a long time. Let's see. There was also, yes, this is what I wanted to touch on with you guys real quick. There is an LP bounty on SpaceX, the token. So you can provide liquidity. You can earn 25,000 USDC rewards. I'm assuming this is like a pool that they made to incentivize people to DLMM. And in that way, you have this like sort of like crypto native market making for the token itself. And, that strengthens the token. So, yeah, $25,000 in additional rewards, that would be made available for these DLimmers. So very nice. Very nice. Again, a very sick unlock to be able to do all of this around a tokenized stock, only made possible on Meteora. So super bullish. All right, let's see. We'll check things. GMGM, Jeet Sparrow. Good to see you. Router AI privacy play. Man, the router chart though. The router chart. There's the fundamental side, there's the TA side. Those two Those two look good. Those two look good. Those two have to look good, in order to form a nice strong thesis. Shout out the boy LB. He's also DLMMing on pump. He added another 25K to increase his range. Yield has been decent but slowed down last few days. Total earned fees in the last 15 days is 10,000, about $663 per day. Wow. What a freaking trade, huh? Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. So that's Bernie. Another meme coin setup I was watching was Joshua. Have you guys seen this? Have you guys seen Joshua? I've been seeing like people change their PFPs. Looks like a nice little community token. Our community meme coin. Or dang, I can't talk today, bro. It's a nice community forming around a meme coin. Oh my goodness. Yes, I finally got that out. Yeah, I mean, from a technical standpoint, let's see what it says on the fib. There's not really like a pivot entry on this one. I don't even know. I would much rather buy this one at like the 0.786, but meme coins don't really respect TA a lot of sometimes, not a lot of times, but they can just go up for no reason, and it'll just disregard any type of TA. But definitely seeing a nice little pump on meme coins. I mean, look at this. You have triple T bounce off the pivot entry, another bounce off of the pivot entry. Let's see where the fibs lined up for this. Boys. The pivot entry is, I mean, look at this, bro. Pivot entry is playing out like clockwork. This is real signal. Here. Okay. But anywho, pivot entry with the complement with the 0.786 and the 886. Just saying. All right. But point is, Triple T seeing a nice little pump there. Buttcoin, obviously we saw Buttcoin 2x the other day, and that's holding its gains really well. We're seeing Neat with the bounce. We talked about Bernie just now with the bounce. Even Joshua is up 2x off of its local bottom. So looking really good. I'm actually paying attention to Goblin here. Dang it, I hate when Dex Screener moves all my stuff around, bro. I had this chart like all diced up. All right, let's see real quick. Let's move this back. Let's move that pivot entry back to where it belongs. I was doing that to show you guys where the pivot entry was. Bang, bang. Let's just create some new lines on this. But essentially, you had the thesis on Goblin was, now that the OpenAI IPO is done, or not the OpenAI, now that the SpaceX IPO is finished, people will focus on the OpenAI IPO, and I think this is a really nice chart here. It's nice little falling wedge here into the pivot entry, and it looks like it wants higher. It looks like it looks like it wants higher. So I'm gonna keep my eye on this. The market has shown that with WorldCoin being bought up, OpenAI IPO later on this year. I'm assuming that this will generate some attention. Yeah, I agree with you. Goblin definitely looks fantastic here. Still in the buy zone as well. Those are really the only two meme coins. I mean, maybe Triple T probably, it's already making a move, but it probably goes for all-time highs again. But yeah, I mean, Bernie looks good, Joshua, and Goblin right now. Well, those are the three meme coins. What else? Somebody asked about ownership tokens, the MetaDAO ecosystem earlier. I forgot who. Let me see. Nothing, no crazy pumps, no crazy pumps happening anywhere. Um, it's basically in the same spot as where we left it. Yeah, in the same spot where we left it. Um, real quick. All right. Somebody mentioned Opal. Jeet Sparrow. You said Opal's in the buy zone. Let's see. Yeah, we were talking about Opal a little bit earlier, Jeet Sparrow, and I was looking for um it to kind of go a little bit deeper into this buy zone here, sub 2 mil. Definitely in a definitely not a bad place to start a position for sure. Definitely not. But I want to be a little bit greedy with my entries because we're in a bear market and things happen, right? Like in a bear market, I want to be greedy with entries. In a bull market, bull markets prices go up across the board. So you don't have to be as surgical, but it's good to kind of like develop the extremes, right? On one side, you have the extreme of operating in a bear market, having to be picky about your entries and exits, knowing that there's limited liquidity in the market. So you have to be kind of on point with these things. But then there's the other extreme of being in a bull market. And then, not really having to be the best trader, but just kind of being in a good trade. And if you're early enough, you're going to make money. So those are the two extremes. And I want to make sure that I'm operating well on both ends of the spectrum, right? And I think this is my first bear market. This is my second bear market overall, but this is my first bear market where I'm actually like the trader that I am now. I'm a much different, much better trader than I was when I first started, and I have a much different perspective on these charts when I look at them. Even on the emotional side, like I don't really get like super like emotional about these things or anything anymore. Um, so yeah. So yeah. Awesome. So yeah, so I say all of that to say there's this range of there's this range of a style of trading, right? Like on the extreme side, on one extreme you have the bear market style of trading. On the other extreme, you have the bull market style of trading, and kind of oscillating in between the two, knowing what style fits the market the best, staying nimble, all that good stuff. That's how I like to operate. But yes, that's why I'm being greedy with my Opal entry, because we're still in the bear market, and prices tend to favor meeting your entry targets. Yeah, I think we covered pretty much everything that we needed to, right? Covered pie. Clued looks good. We covered that. Three. I think three really goes for it here, man. The triple bottom looks absolutely nice. That looks good. Let's see what else. Yeah, we pretty much covered everything. Let's real quick. We covered our meme coins as well. Real quick, let's go to base. Loading. All right, let's go to base, see if there's anything up with anything. Rat Speak still hovering around a mil, just a bit sub mil. Litcoin basically in the same spot it's been in, just below the pivot. By the way, the pivot entries, they mostly work out on Solana. I'll be testing them on base and on EVM, but obviously like there's way more to trade on Solana. But yeah. What else? LFI, JTBO. Yeah, not much happening on base. You said Zelda looks interesting, Crypto Jones. Let's check that one out. Zelda. 42K. Holy no, can't check that one. Too low for the stream. Blocktronics is intriguing at these levels. Let's see, Blocktronics. Oh, yes. Top fumbler. I forgot about compute. Yes. Blocktronics. I don't know about this one. The chart looks dead. Looks like zero volume. Oh, it's on base. Of course it looks like this. Okay, well, disregard that. Doesn't matter on base. Any thesis on this one? Daddy Duster? Let me know. Yes, let's real quick. We have to talk about compute. We've been talking about it a ton in the Discord, but haven't uh let's see here. Let's see here. Um, let's go to Soul real quick. Oh, yes. Yes, I got to talk about Repo as well. Totally forgot about that one. Compute. Repo has been doing really good. No, that's not the right one, right? It's compute with a 0. Is it compute or compute? Y'all let me know. We've been talking about this one in the Discord for a few days now, around 500K. And I just I didn't know, I didn't know what it was gonna do yet, but looks kind of good here. Let's see. Let's see. I mean, you got kind of two options for pivot entry. I don't know if it comes back down this low though. Let's see what the fibs say real quick. I mean, lines up with the 886. I don't I gotta do more research into compute top fumbler. But you also have this like cluster of buys and sells here. So this is also another area that I'd consider anyway. All right. All right, so that's 0. Let's real quick look at the timeline. Let's see if we can find anything on 0. Let's see here. All right. Seeing some nice write-ups. Ooh. Oh, Crypto Slug is bullish on this one. He's a really good eye for projects, actually. He has a really good eye for projects. 0 is a direct competitor of VVV. Interesting. All right, let's get a nice little thesis going here. All right, here's a nice thesis. Okay, so here it is. No way they're trying to copy Killua. What? Killua's already taken, bro. Anywho. I'm not trying to be a hater or anything like that. But let's see. So this is the 0 thesis. 0 is a decentralized AI inference network. The core philosophy, a compute layer anyone can join. Anyone with spare GPU power or a regular computer can become a worker, contributing compute resources to run AI tasks. Anti-centralization. No need for massive corporate data centers. Every day, people around the world share their compute, forms a people's AI. Privacy and uncensored. Prompts are encrypted during transmissions. Workers cannot see user identity or content. Uncensored is a core emphasis. Ease of use. Use it straight from the browser. No downloads or installs. Interesting. No way. The project shifts AI compute from being monopolized by a handful of tech giants to something collectively owned and powered by the people, with a token enabling a self-reinforcing growth loop. 0 isn't a meme. It's the economic layer of the network. All network revenue flows into the treasury. Treasury allocation. 50% is used for open market buys, buybacks and burns. 50% is distributed to stakers in USDC. Staking incentive. Stake 0 to earn passive USDC income. On top of that, users who run workers and stake get a higher share of task rewards. Auto invest. USDC rewards can be automatically converted into 0. The token trading itself feeds back into the network. Okay, I still had a question though. Still got a question on the utility. Let's ask Grok. Let's enlist the power of our AI homie. Um, Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna do two things in parallel. I can do Grok. Um, List the token utilities. All right. So while Grok, excuse me, I have to drink water again. Holy crap. Oh my goodness, dude. Guess talking for like 2 hours straight isn't good. Holy moly. Okay. Um, let's see. What is the zero bull case? We'll ask that. We'll ask him that as well, just to get a little something going. So it looks like we had a little bit of a write up. Researcher, interesting write up here. Your AI could die tomorrow. Claude Fable lasted 3 days. Open weight models are only months behind the frontier. The next problem is deciding who gets to run them. The model your product depends on is not yours. You rent access from a company that owns the weights, controls the hardware, and keeps the off switch. That company can change what runs behind the interface, increase prices, restrict your account, or remove the product entirely. In some cases, you may not even have a choice. Claude Fable made that risk unusually visible. Anthropic launched what it described as its strongest generally available model on June 9th. 3 days later, US government directly forced the company to suspend access. That alone would be a good reason to take models access more seriously. Okay. So he talks about the Fable shutdown. He talks about how access is rented. AI becomes more embedded into our lives, but it's still under the ultimate control of a centralized company. Actually, let me this is a pretty long article, not gonna lie. Let me see if I can get the Grok summary for you guys. Open weights solve model ownership, but not hardware, uptime, routing, or reliable developer access as AI becomes infrastructure. Compute builds the missing layer as BitTorrent for inference, connecting users needing prompts with workers sharing GPU capacity via browser and native workers. Developers access it through an OpenAI compatible API, while Zero serves as the economic layer. That's all right. So let's look into the utilities here. That's the part of this that I still want to just understand a little bit more. I'm actually going to put this seems very interesting for what it's worth. Like that's why I kind of want to spend some time on this. Yes, we should get them on stream. Um, can someone ping Dom in the Discord while I do this? You know, it's okay. Actually, I'll ping him right now. Let's see, Dom, bang, and let's get Zero on. Let's get Zero on the show. Yeah, so it'll be good to get them. It'd be good to get them on this show and see what they have. All right. Zero is a value accrual token, not a direct payment token for inference. Use let's see. Ooh, look at Dom. The boy Dom is on point with it. Speaking with the dev now, should have him on next week. Man, shout out the greatest BD in the world, the homie. Josh says that he's looking at an MCG product V1. Wink, wink. So yeah, we'll definitely get them on stream, Crypto Jones for sure. Darth Infernal. So what is unique about Zero? Sounds like all others doing the same thing. Am I missing something? Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to like see. Like, all right, like what's the utility? What's what makes it different from others? I'm assuming this is like They say it's a VVV competitor. So I'm assuming what it is it's decentralized, permissionless, private access to inference, I believe. Let me see something real quick. All right, so let's look at this. Zero is a value accrual token, and that's why I say it's interesting. Like it makes me want to dig deeper. I don't know exactly what makes this bullish just yet, but I've read enough, and I know enough to say, all right, I need to do a little bit more digging. So Zero is a value accrual token, not a direct payment for, not direct payment token for inference. Users pay for AI jobs / credits in USDC. That's bullish. I love it already. Zero captures and distributes network growth instead. Buyback and burn deflationary mechanism. All right, we talked about the 50-50 split. Staking rewards. Stake to earn 50% of treasury revenue paid out in USDC. The part I'm trying to understand is, okay, where do these people pay? Like, what are they paying? Like, oh, stakers also get free daily credits allowance. Who is building this? I need to know what's the qualifications of the team. Holy crap. That's actually pretty bullish. Value accrual, network revenue, 100% of compute margin, 30% of job fees after worker payout, plus 35% of zero trading fees, more usage, more treasury inflows, more buybacks, higher staking. Ooh, okay. You don't need zero to use the network, but staking it lets you benefit from growth. Live treasury stats. Ooh, live treasury stats viewable at, let's look at their treasury real quick. Let's look at that real quick. Because if it's already making money, it's already revenue positive, that's product market fit. It's tough to get a business that generates revenue, man. All right, so here's the kind of bull case for Zero. Zero becomes a high conviction bet on real revenue, token value accrual. Decentralized inference is a massive TAM in the broader DAI narrative, where centralized providers face censorship, privacy issues, high costs, and regulatory risks. Product market fit. Centralized AI log prompts. All right, we know that part. Centralization, huge risk. Power can consolidate to tech giants, so we get unrestricted access, permissionless access to AI. We get that. Low friction supply side. Anyone with a GPU or even a browser tab can become a worker and earn USDC passively. This crowdsources cheap distributed compute versus expensive centralized GPUs. Staked workers get boosted revenue. 80% versus 70%. Okay. So we know that. Early momentum, rapid growth in workers signups, hundreds of percents in days. Okay. So there's traction. Live treasury shows millions in burns, and staking inference market is projected to be enormous. DAI narrative tailwinds, et cetera. Upside levers, risk. Bull case scenario, it becomes the people's AI network. Even modest market share and inference demand could drive substantial treasury inflows, aggressive burns, attractive yields, and token appreciation. It's a leverage play on decentralized AI without forcing token usage for the core product. Yes, I love that. I love that you can use the platform without having to buy the token, because the token kind of creates some friction on that end. Let's look at the treasury real quick. I thought that said 8 million for a second. Okay. So let's see. I'm looking for revenue. So I wonder if this is more funded through fees. 100% of compute margin and a share of zero trading fees flow into this treasury. Half buybacks, half is paid to stakers. I want to know how much of this is Yeah, I want to know how much of this is token trading fees and how much of this is actual revenue of the product. That's the part for me that I think I need to see a little bit more. But we have them coming on the show next week. What's the website? The website that I'm on right now is compute.ai/treasury. That's the site that I have, but you should go to their Twitter. If you go to Deck Screener, Deck Screener should have their Twitter as well attached to the the token. Cool. Cool. Good call out there, Top Fumbler. I totally forgot to take a look at this, but that's essentially that's the thesis. It's decentralized, permissionless access to an AI to AI inference. Basically it's essentially a competitor on Solana to VVV. What I want to see is a little bit more metrics. Let me ask Grok, can you dig up any metrics around user growth, revenue generation, or anything significant on showing traction? Telling you, man, Grok is like a cheat code. A lot of times it's really good to just go in and like just read this stuff yourself. But to at least get some intro to the information to kind of know what you're digging for. You can get like just a basic overview with Grok. He can kind of point you in the right direction, tell you what you're looking at. This is what he says as far as the metrics are concerned. Tokens generated 1.3 million, 5x growth, 5x growth in 48 hours around June 14th, just yesterday. 600 users, almost 1,900 free prompts. They had a spike in workers, so people contributing compute to the AI network. It's up from 4 to 29. Total jobs up from 123 to over 1,000. New signups up from 13 to 84. Wow. Okay, so this is actually pretty massive. I mean, we're talking about like at least 600, 700% in growth across some of these metrics. USDC deposited. Okay, only $360 in USDC deposits. So that means, people who actually using the platform or at least paying for any usage. And remember, this revenue is what's going to be, key for the token value accrual side of things. There's the staking side for sure to get some of these fees and to get some of this stuff that, but if you only have a couple $100, it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough for people expecting a quality payout. Okay, cool. So we see the signs. We see the early signs. I think I still need to see a little bit more. Here's the chart. I think I would want to keep this on the list to DCA in, get an entry around sub 500K. At the 0.86 or even the 0.886 if we even get that low. I don't think we go back to 300K, but if we do, I'll be a happy buyer. Okay. So we went through quite a bit here today, guys. We talked about some stuff happening on the macro side, chart wise. We talked about the whole debacle with Anthropic and the government. We talked a lot of these things happening. Let's see. Yeah, we talked about quite a bit. I think that's all that I have for today, guys. I'm just like going through some stuff just to make sure that, I don't have anything else that I want us to touch on. Yeah. Yeah, nothing. Okay. So I think we're good. I think we're good here, guys. What's popping on the base side? Not much. Not much, my guy. Not much. I don't really see much of anything on base for now. So yeah, I think this is a good place to shut her down. We're coming up on 2.5 hours on stream. There's 767 of us here on stream. So let's all do me a favor. Let's all there's 768 of us here. Do me a favor. Let's go to the MCG account at MCG Live. We're here Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern time. I want you to make sure you're hitting follow. I want you to make sure you hit follow. And then I want you to scroll down. And then I want you to like and retweet this stream. Like and retweet the stream. Make sure you do that before you go. It's been an absolute pleasure here chatting with you guys and just chilling. I love these streams, man. I love these streams where I can just chill, chart, trench, talk with you guys, do research, develop a thesis. You know, we're reading through like all this tech, and we're like discovering stuff together. Like, I love it, man. I love this. This is my favorite. I mean, look, I love the interviews. I really do. I love seeing these founders build insane projects. But the thing that I love the most is being with you guys. So here is what we're going to do. This week we'll be launching the Discord. We'll do a full release to the Discord, and you'll likely see it in my Telegram. I'll bring my entire Telegram crew over. I'll bring my entire Telegram group to the Discord. So that will be going public soon. There'll be a chat. There'll be a few things. So just quickly, I'll just run through this. The Discord is called MCG Collective. I'm not going to be releasing the Discord link right this second. Likely, we'll do it maybe Wednesday or something like that. But I think this is the perfect time. There's these newer projects are starting to like bubble up and stuff, like Compute and Kins and some of these other things are doing really well. So the Discord server is basically going to you're going to have access to all the clips that we post, stream notes. You'll be able to make topic requests if there's some people that you want to see on stream. There'll be like a general chat for if you have questions, for us generally, or if you just want to say hi to the community. But then there's also a trenching chat. There's a chat for perps. There's even a feedback channel, right? So in case you guys have any particular feedback for myself, or for myself or for the guys, you guys will be able to have that there as well. So it'll be very simple, very clean chat just for all of us that love coming to the show. All of us. I mean, I feel like we have like a very smart community. We have a very like giga brain community. Like you guys do research, you're into the numbers, you dig into the metrics, you want to form a thesis. I really want to put us all in one place, and this Discord is going to be where that happens. So this week we go live with the launch. Okay. This week we go live with launch. So you want to keep watching the streams, and we'll release it to you viewers of the stream. So if you're watching the stream and you want to trench with us, you want to, get access to just a community that everyone trades together, forms thesis together, researches together. You can't keep track of every part of this market on your own. And I really want to build this kind of hub where we can all be together. So hopefully you guys will love that. Stay tuned for the release. I'll be releasing that to my TG here soon as well. Follow the MCG account, link in our bio, hit that, subscribe to the YouTube, hit us up on Twitch, and soon the link to our Discord will be in our link tree as well. So looking forward to that, guys. Appreciate you for watching, all nearly 800 of you. We really appreciate your love and your support here for MCG. It truly means a lot. I mean, are we lapping Rasmer right now in viewership? Wow. Okay. I'm sorry. I got distracted real quick. But yes, appreciate you guys. Love you guys. I'll see you on the timeline. I'll see you. And then I'll see you in the Discord. And I'll see the rest of you in the Discord very soon. GG's, boys.
Off.